From the weird to wonderful homes, from hoarders' homes to entire towns being listed, the 2018 property game was anything but boring.
This is true. John Healy, Managing Editor of News at realestate.com.au, just joins us now to discuss some of the most outrageous sales of the year. John, great to see you once again. Welcome to the show. Look, there have been some pretty weird and outrageous sales in the past 12 months, and you get to cast your eye over all of them at realestate.com.au, don't you?
Oh, we certainly do. Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for having me on. Great to be here again. Yeah, 2018, some weird and wonderful sales. As you say, we've had everything from hoarders' homes to some of the most expensive homes ever sold in the country be listed and sold. And all the ones that we're having a look at this morning did find a buyer. So it just goes to show that if homes are properly marketed, there is a buyer for everyone. But the team did have a lot of fun, I must say, having a look at some of the most outrageous sales for 2018.
And John, it is the marketing of these properties to really find the target market, if you like, for some of them when they're a little bit obscure. How do you think they go about it when it just, you know, isn't sort of easily contained within a box?
Well, it's all about finding your unique selling point. No matter what home you're selling, it could be a suburban home or it could be one of these most outrageous sort of sales with some really unique features. Finding that unique selling point is just so important to get your property to stand apart from the pack and to really stand out against other homes that may be in the similar price bracket. So while some of the homes that we're seeing today have some really, you know, crazy sort of features and some really unique points, every home really does as well. And you know, you're well advised to have a chat to your agent who can come into your property and really have a good look around and identify what your unique selling point could be. It could be where you are on your street. It could be a view. It could be the amount of bedrooms you have. Anything that you can set yourself apart from. Really important to identify and use that in your marketing to get as many eyeballs on your listing as possible.
Now, one that doesn't need any help finding its unique selling point is Ali's Creek town. It pretty much says what it is straight away, doesn't it? It's a whole town.
It is a whole town. Buying a single home is so 2017, it turns out. Buying an entire town was what 2018 was about, well, certainly at least in this case anyway. Ali's Creek was sold for around $500,000 for the whole town. There were 12 houses, 14 hectares of land, a dam, a helipad. You know, you had the chance to really lord over your own town there. Had a lot of interest from international buyers, according to the agent. So calls from everywhere, from England to New Zealand, and we believe that it sold ultimately to a buyer from regional Queensland. So Ali's Creek is around 373 kilometres northwest of Brisbane. $500,000 is actually less than the median price of just one home in Brisbane. So you get a lot of bang for your buck here. Would love to see what becomes of the town. It used to be housed for timber mill workers, but that timber mill shut down in around 2008. So the buyers, the people who bought it from the timber mill, first put it on the market in around 2015 with a price of more than $2 million. So it eventually sold for just $500,000. So clearly that price came down a fair bit, and that's where the market was interested.
Yeah, it's a really unique property. Those aerial shots now of just showing the street, and it's a hall. I mean, it's almost set up to become an amazing wedding venue or something. It is really unique. At that price, it's crazy. I looked at the paperwork you sent through. It started off at around $2.1 million in 2015, so it was a significant drop down to that $500,000 figure, but it's so unusual.
It really is. As you say, look, who knows what it might become? Could it become a tourist attraction, a recreational area, a bit of a calling card for that local community to really market in tourism advertising? Who knows, maybe a great bed and breakfasts. Who knows what it could be? It could start even making money for the vendor, and properties that you can turn around and actually create an income off are just exceptional.
Now, still in Queensland, let's check out an avocado farm in Blackbutt.
Yes, this one is just beautiful. I mean, the poor old smashed avocado is a much maligned fruit at the moment. It's been sort of, you know, under the gun for all sorts of issues around housing affordability and millennials not being able to get into the market because they're apparently consuming too much smashed avocado. So here's a property where you can literally have your avocado and your home as well. It's got an avocado farm with more than 3,000 mainly Hass avocado trees that could even make up to around 60,000 trays of avocados per year. It passed in at auction originally, but was sold shortly after for just over $2 million, I believe. So talking about properties that you could generate an income off, here's another example of that one.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful property. Anywhere you can grow avocados is going to be particularly lush and picturesque in the first place, isn't it? But yeah, a great opportunity to generate income, as you said, John.
Yeah, it started off life, I believe, as a peanut farm, but just Australia's appetite for avocados, so to speak, had them change strategy, and they turned it into an avocado farm to really leverage the growth in prices that we're paying for avocados today. So
yeah,
a really great move and a great property, especially if you love avocado.
Yeah, definitely.
Who doesn't?
Now, from one extreme to the other, we've got the rows of trees there and all beautiful and neat, but we're now going to go to a hoarder's home in Granville, a very different scenario for this property.
Well, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, of course, and there was a buyer for this home. Certainly not as beautiful as our avocado farm, but it will serve another purpose, certainly, and we'll probably be looking at the buyer here knocking down and rebuilding the home. It sold for $630,000, actually, even before going to auction. It was sold without being cleaned up, and it was even marketed around the fact that you could get the junk thrown in for free. So some clever marketing there. Houses on the same street were selling for around the mid 700,000s to the high 700,000. So the buyer in this case has really picked up the property for the price of the land, and we would obviously, looking at those pictures, expect it to be knocked down and rebuilt, perhaps a development to go onto that site. But a really good buying opportunity in Granville, not far really from the Sydney CBD.
Wow. Oh, it takes some vision to see through all that junk, doesn't it? And having been to some houses like that in a previous job, I can actually smell that pile of rubbish.
A lot of young mums and dads out there now looking around their lounge room with all the kids' toys everywhere going, I don't feel so bad. That's really, really frightening, isn't it?
That's right. I think we've both seen a bit of that, Sophie, in our previous lives. So, but look, a great opportunity, as you say, the vision to turn that property into something really special and to add value to that property is really the key, and a really great opportunity there that you don't get every day.
Well, that's very kindly put there, John. Now let's go to Palm Beach on the Gold Coast. It's changing stream again, really at the other end of the spectrum, this one.
Yeah, so our audience loves, we really see on realestate.com.au, any sort of homes that are sort of classed as time capsule homes. So homes that were built and really haven't had much change in those years in between. So this is a 1970s tiny beach shack, just 2 bedrooms, sold for a whopping $3.25 million. So that's $1 million profit on what the vendors picked it up for only 2 years before that. But it is on prime, absolute beachfront land, 412 square metres, so excellent coastal views. It's only 10 minutes from the Gold Coast Airport, only about an hour up to Brisbane from there. So pictures are showing just a beautiful property, and not many of those around. And again, imagine what you could do with it. You could leave it as it is, of course, because it's growing in value, without doing too much to it, or you could really put a knockdown and build something special there.
Yeah, I think it sort of changes the whole word meaning of the word shack, doesn't it? It's a location just blows that word out of the water. If we go now to Victoria, Melbourne, the old Melbourne Star bicycles. Tell us about this property. It broke records.
It did, and it broke records for Melbourne property in February last year. So almost a year ago now, very early sale in the year. It was $52.5 million. The Stonington mansion, named after the local government area here, the city of Stonington. A lot of history behind this home. It's hosted all sorts of rich and famous royalty, Dame Nellie Melba, Sir John Monash, people like that have all passed through. It smashed the previous Melbourne record, which was for 18 St George's Road, Toorak, which sold for $40 million a year, before that in 2017. So this is Victoria's most expensive house at the moment. It was once owned by Deakin University too, I believe. And some controversy when they actually sold it in 2006 back into to private hands. But really, really interesting history. So if you're keen on Australian history, it used to be Australian Government House once upon a time as well. So an extraordinary property in Malvern.
And do you know much about what the new buyer intends to do with it?
Look, we don't know a huge amount about that, but we do know that it is an overseas buyer who has picked this up, according to reports. So we'll be really looking to see what's going to happen with that property. It will be exciting. Definitely
one to watch. Now, let's go to Sydney now. There's some news-generating houses there. In Fairwater, $100 million sale, just extraordinary.
It really is, again, almost double the price of Melbourne's most expensive home. This was sold just in September for $100 million to the co-founder of Atlassian, our really successful cloud-based software company. So bought by Mike Cannon-Brookes, the co-founder of that business, for $100 million. Again, that smashed Sydney's sales records. Funnily enough, the previous record was $71 million, bought by Mike's co-founder in that business, Atlassian. So he bought Elaine in 2017, and the two properties neighbour each other. So those guys have quite a bit in common, clearly business partners and neighbours now back to back. So some extraordinary harbourfront property, and who wouldn't love getting your hands on that if you could only afford that extraordinary price?
Yeah.
But they don't even have to run into each other on those sprawling estates. You could be neighbours but never actually
see each other.
Only see each other at work.
What about staying with this beautiful, and what about Rona? We've had that sale during the year.
Yeah, Rona again in Bellevue Hill, so another beautiful Sydney home. It smashed records actually for sales just away from the harbour front, so not pure harbour front, but that one sold for $58 million in October. So again, that's about 5,700 square metres, built in 1883. It's a Victorian rustic Gothic mansion, so just some extraordinary pictures there of that beautiful home. And again, you could just only dream of what life could be like if you were living in Rona.
Yeah, and what an extraordinary price, as you said, not even harbourfront, whereas in Sydney all of the, all the records are normally for harbourfront properties. So a very impressive sale there indeed. Well, thank you so much, John. The weird, the wonderfully outrageous and the stunningly beautiful. We've enjoyed a walk through last year's property market.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.